The film that I've chosen to do my media analysis over is the movie Fruitvale Station. Fruitvale Station tells a story of the final day of Oscar Grant's life. Oscar Grant was a Bay Area resident who had a terrible encounter with the police officers at Fruitvale BART Station. This police encounter shook the Bay Area to the core, and the whole nation was able to witness this encounter because it was recorded on a cell phone. On New Year's Day in 2009, Oscar Grant was shot by Bay Area Rapid Transit BART police. The police officer who shot him was named Johannes Mercelli. In the readings, we read about the interaction between law enforcement and women of color. The two readings that led me to pick Fruitvale Station for my media analysis are Law Enforcement Violence Against Women of Color, and This is How Women of Color Are Affected by Police Brutality. The reading Law Enforcement Violence Against Women of Color discussed how women are treated horribly by the police instead of being protected by them. The reading also gives real-life examples of colored women having to go through police brutality. One of the real-life examples from this reading that really bothered me was an African-American lesbian woman who was raped by a police officer. She said that he forced his way in and had her at gunpoint. He told her that he was teaching her a lesson because the world needed one less dyke. The reading did not mention the woman's name, but I thought this was a terrible experience for a woman to have to go through with someone that's supposed to be there to protect you. The reading, This is How Women of Color Are Affected by Police Brutality, talks about many people who have advocated for women of color against police brutality. It also talks about police brutality against colored men also. One real-life example that was talked about in this reading was Nicole Peltray Bell. Her fiancé was killed and shot multiple times by the NYPD on their wedding day. Also, the film The 13th inspired me to pick Fruitvale Station for my media analysis. The film The 13th talked about mass incarceration. It talked about how mass incarceration is a modern-day form of slavery for colored people. These two readings in this film led me to choose Fruitvale Station for my media analysis because I feel like Fruitvale Station shows a really good real-life example of how colored people have to go through police brutality on a daily. This movie shows a true story of how Black men are faced with police brutality every day. When I saw this film, I was jaw-dropped to just watch how police officers can just shoot someone with little or no reason at all. The movie expressed how some police officers are scared when they're on their job. I feel like if you're a police officer and you're scared, you should not be on your job and you should not be able to be a police officer. We shouldn't have police officers that aren't able to handle situations like this. The officer in this movie was scared to be there. This film being based on a true story, at the end of it, it showed all of the events that took place after Oscar Grant was killed. Oscar Grant begged for his life and was cooperating with police the whole time he was restrained. But his begging was not able to help save his life, and he was shot by the police officer. In the following days of the shooting of Oscar Grant, many peaceful and violent protests took place against the police. The officer that shot Oscar Grant was not charged. This film showed how basically the law enforcement is seen as superior to the Black man and woman. I think this film also did a good job in showing how it is not easy for a police officer to get away with his actions because there are so many people who record things on their phones nowadays. The nation would have never known about this altercation if it was not recorded on a cell phone. I thought the readings this week in this movie really helped me to understand the interactions between police and minorities and how minorities have to deal with police brutality on a daily.